I got an email a few days later, Challenge Ferrari auction ending, you are still the highest bidder. I was like, sorry, what? So I logged on and there I was, an hour to go, you are the highest bidder. I don't really know when I fell in love with road cars because my passion for automobiles in general began with Formula One, Ferrari, Michael Schumacher specifically, because when I was growing up he was dominating. I'm not a Glory supporter, I just really like the guy. But I do remember seeing an episode, I think it was of Fifth Gear, the lesser known British car show. And Vicky Butler-Henderson was one of their presenters. And me as a 12 or 13-year-old boy used to quite enjoy Vicky Butler-Henderson's segments. She is still to this day a very attractive lady, but also very well spoken, knows what she's talking about, could drive really well, just presented fantastically. And I remember very vividly the episode where she got to drive the Ferrari 360 Challenge Ferrari. I think just everything about that piece kind of just burned itself into my mind as like, this car is special. And I kind of left it there, but always held it in this high regard. And when I started to do social media and car stuff, it was kind of my go-to car when people said like, what's your dream car? I was like, 360 Challenge Ferrari, because this kind of was, without any great thought. But the more I got exposed to the car world, the more opportunities I had to get up close to Challenge Ferrari and things like that, I started going, oh no, I really love these cars. I'm like, oh, I want one. Hearing one for the first time, sitting in one for the first time, and then eventually driving one for the first time. It's quite hard to really describe, especially in this modern performance world, because it's not a quick car. Even in the period, like it was fast, but it wasn't like mind-numbingly fast, because this was Ferrari's first real go at a road-going race car. We'd seen the 348 Competizione, the 355 Challenge, some of which were road legalized. So there were racier versions of the road car, but this was the car which then led to the 430 Scuderia, the 458 Speciale, the 488 Pista, now the 296 Speciale, etc. It's something about firstly stepping inside the car. There's no carpets, you can see all the welding points, carbon fiber door panels, racing seats, harnesses in some cases, like all these elements that make you think like, oh my God, I'm a Ferrari racing driver, and enhance the experience before you've turned the car on. And then of course when you do fire that iconic V8 into life, not only does it really rumble through the car in a way that the standard Modena doesn't get because of the soundproofing and the plushness and the leather. You get sort of more of a feel, but it's so raw and raspy. If you've never heard a Challenge Ferrari on cold startup or harsh acceleration or revving in a tunnel, nothing can prepare you for it. You think you know, but even recently I let famous YouTuber Shmee150 drive my car, and he'd never driven one before. We went through this very long tunnel in the UK, and you can just see on his face, he's like, he doesn't realize what's happening, because it's like, it seems like it's got 3 valves. I mean, it is only one, but you sort of get past that initial valve opening, and then the exhaust just keeps opening up even wider until you reach that kind of red line. It's a really intoxicating sound. You're not really going anywhere. Good friend of mine often says it's a lot of noise and you don't really move, but it doesn't matter because you just get all the feelings and the emotion. Dynamically, it is there or thereabouts. Like, it's definitely got more of an edge, more of an anger than a Modena. You feel it being a little bit lighter, a little bit twitchier. It's harder to drive in the sense where you have to drive it. The Modena can be very lethargic, can be very easy. The Stradale has that kind of like race car for the road feel. Get the noise of all the stones and road rash on the bottom of the car. It just creates that environment where it feels inherently special. And I think for me, it's aging very well. I love the looks and the design of it. I think that horsepower, around 400 horsepower, kind of feels about right for road usage, so you can get all the way through the rev range and not be doing craziness. And it represents an era of the car world that just feels about right. The start of computers, a little bit of traction control, the semi-automated F1 flappy padded gearbox, things like that. But it's got enough analog rawness that you still feel like you're driving. So yeah, it was a dream car. It's now a dream car that I own, but it remains my dream car. And I think will forever be that one that I can't let go or look past, at least for me. I never actually knew though if I'd be able to buy one of these cars as much as I loved one, because, well, when I got into YouTube, when I got into the position to be considering buying Ferraris, value-wise, they'd kind of long gone. 10 years ago, they were trading in the UK for £350,000. And I was like, I'm like never going to get there. Luckily, market softened slightly, but even still, A good right-hand drive example in the UK was probably £250,000, which has never been a sort of marketplace that I'm looking to operate in. But I'd always toyed with the idea. I'd always hoped that one day it'd be possible. And there were a few left-hand drive cars in the UK market, which tended to be at like 140 or 150,000 pounds because they're less desirable in the UK. And then you now can't really export them over to Europe anymore because of various, taxes and things like that. So yeah, they tend to be 50 or 60 grand less. And I'd got a finance agreement drawn up on a car at like 150 grand or something like that. So I had that in the back of my mind. And there was an online auction site that listed sort of launch specification Stradale for sale, no reserve. And I was like, I knew the market was a bit quiet, things were a bit soft. And I thought, well, I know that I can afford a car at 150 grand, maybe I'll just put 150 grand in. Like, it's never going to sell for that. Like, it's absolutely no chance. It was a slightly higher mileage car, like 30,000 miles, but still, market value, it was probably like a 180, 190 car. But I thought, screw it, I'll put the bid in and not look. I got an email a few days later, Challenge Stradale auction ending, you are still the highest bidder. I was like, sorry, what? So I logged on and there I was. An hour to go, you are the highest bidder. And I think the car was at like 140 at the time or something like that. So I'm sitting there being like, oh my God. So I went to the other room away from my wife, quietly refreshed the page, watched going, started to tick up. We got to the 150 mark. About 15 minutes to go, it ticks over. 150, 500, 151. I'm going, screw it. Let's put in 152. I put in 152. You're the highest bidder. No, 152.2, 152.5. Anyway. Gets with about a minute to go, and I go, 154, come on, like, it's a challenge for Stradale. Sits, refreshes, you've won. And I'm like, slam the laptop, like, oh no, what have I done? Don't leave the bedroom, don't go and tell my wife, call my friend. Think I bought a challenge for Stradale. Not really knowing what to do, not really knowing if I could actually afford it. I'd had this finance agreement from a year before, so second phone call was to the finance company. Kind of figured out that yes, I probably could somehow afford it if I sold my 360 Modena at the time. So had to do a little bit of, petrol head juggling. Told the seller, I'm just going to get my funds together. I'll be a couple of weeks whilst I sold the Modena as quickly as I could. Fire sale on that. Put a few other things out. And once everything was agreed, said to my wife, bought a challenge for Stradale the other day. Please don't kill me. Luckily she didn't. She was very excited for me. And finally got my dream car kind of by accident. I went to collect it from the seller. It turned out to be the most unbelievable car collector. It was part of a 15 or 20 car garage. He'd bought it 10 years previously, tucked it away in the back and just never really driven it. Hence why he thought he needed to sell it, because he was making space for some other things. When I say car collector, Valkyrie, 288 GTO, F40, proper cars. So he said, look, I have maintained it. It's gone for servicing and things like that. I just haven't used it. So drove away and took it straight down to my mechanics, guys called AV Engineering. They gave it a once over mechanically. You're kind of in good shape, but there is a little bit of rust here and there. So you probably need to work on that. The car was, as I say, in launch specification, which is Rosso Scuderia, same colour as the Formula 1 cars at the time, a stripe, and then the red and black interior, which wasn't necessarily my dream spec, but I didn't care. It's my dream car. So when we got all the sort of bodywork inspected, it was kind of fed back that maybe 60 or 70% of the car was going to have to be repainted. So the offer was made, well, look, we could do a full respray, at which point you could change the colour if you wanted to. So I was like, I've got my dream car. I'm probably, on a bad day, 25 grand ahead of the market. I bought the car at a good value. It's probably worth a little bit more. Let's go full send and create my dream car. So after a lot of deliberation, I settled on wanting going down this kind of heritage route, discovered the colour Rosso Mugello, which is a flat, non-metallic red. Now, you'd think that's a simple choice, but in the world of Ferraris, there is no one Rosso Mugello. There's 1,000 variations of Rosso Mugello. There are lots of painstaking decisions about base coats and eras and years and periods. Finally settled on that colour. And then I wanted to kind of celebrate Ferrari's racing history and past, because this was the Challenge Stradale. And a lot of the iconic race cars from Ferrari's past would have red paint and blue interiors. And we've seen that carried over to things like Daytona SP3s, 812 Competizioni. A lot of people use this very vibrant blue that you see in F40s and things like that. I didn't want that. I wanted a slightly darker shade. And I wanted the car to look like it could have left the factory. That was my whole point. So we decided to copy over the two-tone design of the interior, but replace the red with blue, keep some black elements. And ended up with my dream version, which I think the covers came back and tears started to form in my eyes ever so slightly, but I realised, this was now the summit of my automotive mountain, had been climbed.
For the last 20 years or so, I've been working with Premier Financial Services for my own exotic car needs, but also sending friends and clients when I was a car dealer to Premier Financial Services because their simple lease is truly the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. We love it because we get all the great things about leasing, like low upfronts, better tax treatment for business owners, lower sales taxes, but we also retain all the great things about a traditional finance arrangement, like the ability to accumulate equity, trade in and out whenever you want, and always know where your payoff stands because they give you an amortization table with every single lease. And Premier's been a supporter of VINwiki here for the last 8 years, and we love them for that, but truly because the customer support of the Premier Financial Services team is unmatched. And now that they're backed and wholly owned by First Financial Bank, that gives them even more buying power for their portfolio of the most significant and valuable collector and exotic cars in the world. It's also allowing them to create new and more interesting finance options and programs for their clients and giving them much more buying power, which is what everybody is looking for as they go on the search for their dream car. So check out Premier Financial Services right now at the link in the description below to thank them for their support of VINwiki and know that they'll be the perfect supporter of your journey to own your dream car.